And welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be talking about a new poll that just came out of Texas, the Dallas Morning News. It is a newspaper that does tend to lean more towards the left. However, this is a interesting poll that I believe just came out with. Obviously, we had Abbott versus O'Rourke, which has Abbott up 6 points. But the more interesting poll is the Matthew McConaughey versus Abbott poll out of the Dallas Morning News. McConaughey at 43%, Abbott at 35%. This poll obviously shows a lot of undecided people. But frankly, this is actually very interesting. This is the first time, I guess aside from like Donald Trump, this is the first time that we have seen an actor, if I can click on this poll, this is the first time, let's take a look and see if we can get right to McConaughey. Okay. Anyway, this is the first time that we have seen an actor, aside from Donald Trump, actually consider, running for political office. I mean, we did see it with a little bit with Caitlyn Jenner, or whatever you want to call him. But, with an actual shot at winning, McConaughey up 43 to 35% in a Dallas Morning poll. In the past, he has claimed that he does plan, or not plan, but he was thinking about running for governor. Greg Abbott is considered a pretty popular governor in the state of Texas compared to other, governors. However, if McConaughey ran, he actually consolidates an interesting amount of each vote. If he ran as an independent, you can see that he does get 64% of the Democratic vote. He obviously is much more of a more socially to the left than I guess, conservative or economically to the right, if you want to put it that way. But he's not extremely, socially to the left. He's not like, far left. He's more of somebody that's kind of, in favor of gay marriage, in favor of, to an extent in favor of abortion. However, he did say he has, some restrictions that he would have on it, but he did not support the Texas abortion law. Economically, definitely talked about how, with the taxes and wants to lower crime. Another big thing, which is, talking about California, Texas comparisons, very bad crime and drug problems in California. McConaughey talked about that. So he gets 64% of the Democrat vote, very, more socially to the Democrats. Independents, 41%. That's about half, not half, but 40% of independents. So that's a significant amount. And 25% of Republicans. He gets 25% of Republicans, which is actually very, very interesting because to see that Greg Abbott doesn't have as much control over the Republicans as he may think he does. Now, Matthew McConaughey, a very, very interesting person in the sense that, he's not registered as a Democrat or a Republican. But if this were somebody like Donald Trump, you'd probably see Matthew McConaughey's numbers maybe in the single digits. However, I think it does actually show among not just the Texans, the people of Texas, but a larger, understanding of the American people, that they are tired of these kind of bland politicians that wear these suits and kind of talk professionally and, act like, go on front of a stage and kind of come up with a fake script, not talking about Greg Abbott specifically, but on a broader range. And I think somebody like Matthew McConaughey embodies, although he is an actor, he does embody the sense of being able to cope, or not cope, but sympathize with the average American and kind of act in a way that wouldn't be considered, the way a regular politician would argue or would present themselves, similar to what Donald Trump did. But, we see this not just with Donald Trump. We also see this on the left. We see this with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, an incredibly popular person among the Democrat Party, definitely has a significant amount of that vote. He almost won the nomination in 2016 and in 2020. You could argue that those nominations, frankly, were rigged in favor of the more establishment candidates like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. After Joe Biden won South Carolina, after Jim Clyburn's endorsement, essentially all of the moderate candidates, Amy Klobuchar, Buttigieg, O'Rourke, all dropped out, supported Biden, and Elizabeth Warren stayed in the race, which essentially costed Bernie Sanders the nomination in favor of Biden. But that really wasn't the Democratic constituents, at least in the primaries, actual, ones. It was really in the end between Biden and Bernie, and they had to go with Biden. They still have a slight majority. But what you can see that people like McConaughey, like Sanders, like Trump, etc. Those are just the three main ones, I guess, talking about this at the moment, that kind of come off, that they don't come off as that regular politician that doesn't really answer questions, kind of dodges around questions. So I think it's very, very interesting. It was a very interesting poll out of Texas. McConaughey kind of gets a significant amount um, of the support from each of the political parties, most among Democrats. He has said that he does lean towards the Democrats, although more socially conservative, or not socially, or economically conservative, similar to, I guess, Caitlyn Jenner. But this is something that, you know, I think that both parties should look out for. I think if the Democrats or Republicans want to do well in 2024, America is changing. It's America is significantly different from when it was in like 1990, where you had people like Bill Clinton and George Bush that are just kind of like, I don't want to say bland, but kind of are just, they're just the same. They don't really have anything. They're kind of the same person aside from slightly different policies, if I could even call it like that. I mean, you could even say the same thing with George Bush and I don't know, John Kerry or even Obama. Very similar in that sense. But people like this, I think, actually kind of have more of a divide in the sense that they serve different purposes. And I think that the American people are going to be more interested in voting for somebody like that. I think that Trump was actually one of the embodiments of that shift. Obama, kind of changed it a little bit, but Trump a significant factor there. And Bernie in 2016, 26 election was really, really big because it was essentially supposed to be Clinton versus Bush, but it ended up being Trump versus Clinton. 2020, Biden won. I think in 2024, you could definitely see, if it's not Harris or Buttigieg, somebody more that doesn't exactly fit exactly in with the establishment of the Democrats, and same with the Republicans. DeSantis, I wouldn't say he fits in with the establishment Republicans as much as people would like to claim. I'd say establishment Republicans are more like Mitt Romney, or more like Mitch McConnell, even Kevin McCarthy, those types of people. DeSantis not really as much fitting in there, but you could have some relations. But I would say he's more definitely on the conservative side, definitely more of a Trumpian style candidate. And I think that you're going to see that out of both parties. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this poll out of Texas. Matthew McConaughey, very, very interesting, up against Greg Abbott. If we do see a Governor McConaughey come 2023, that would be very, very interesting for Texas. That would be very interesting to see how that state governs itself in the future. But that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And if McConaughey decides to run, that this is going to be an incredibly interesting race. If it ends up being a 3-way race or a 2-way race, it's going to be very interesting. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are nearing 250 subscribers, so I can't wait to hit that milestone. And I think that's about it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.